Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
Thanks so much for subscribing to Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. rickenfinancial.com. For more information on the team, you can also find that link in the show notes as well. My name is Mark Owens. Heidi Ricken Provost is here. Jerry is at a conference working.
No. He's going to the Brewers cards game tonight in Milwaukee.
Well, all right then. I'm not angry
I know, with his
all.
best friend. It's okay. I'll allow it.
Work hard to play hard.
I know, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Hey, we got to trade off every once in a while. I left him hanging for a hot minute. So.
And you did, because you are a worldly traveler. Got another stamp on the passport. Went down to Mexico and got a beautiful wedding, some great memories, and the Rona.
Yep. Came back with a COVID and inner ear infection and lots of memories from a gorgeous weekend with one of my longest standing friends. So it was awesome. Known him for 25 years. He's like a big brother to me, and seeing him commit his life to his wife was awesome.
How was the resort? I've done the all-inclusive thing a handful of times down in Mexico. Always had a really good time. Those all-inclusive, those swim-up bars can be dangerous.
The swim-up bar was dangerous. It was a lot of fun, though. For the first time at an all-inclusive in Mexico, I actually think I came home having lost weight.
Congratulations.
There was actually a really cool outdoor gym with like wooden weights. Took advantage of that one day. Did a lot of exercising while I was there and found that I didn't eat that much. So, you know.
I found that like when we were at the all-inclusive spots that I would partake in the bar more than I would eat. So it's like, but I say that as in like those pina coladas, you're basically having a meal. You know.
And you're getting all of the important vitamins and minerals that you need from that coconut.
You are not.
And all that corn syrup and sugar.
You are a liar. There is nothing healthy about any of that. I'm just walking around drunk, sunburnt with a sugar high. That's me at an all-inclusive.
Can I just say the biggest win of the entire weekend? I did not get even 1 inch of sunburn.
Hey, congrats.
It probably helped that I brought literally a gallon-sized bag filled with sunscreen.
You said you also came back with the memories, obviously the COVID. I'm glad you're back on your feet again. But you said you came home with a lesson in what you do and how you serve the community as well from this wedding in Mexico. What happened?
Oh, absolutely. Ken and Erica put together their wedding in about a month's time, which that is a feat in and of itself and amazing. And they did a lot of it kind of DIY, boots on the ground. And it was hard work. I mean, I think back to when Stephen and I were planning our wedding, it took us more than a year to put it together. And even doing some of that DIY, we did some stuff DIY, but a lot of it not. And just the little onesie twosie things that you kind of forget about, like they put together the transportation from the airport to the resort for all 31 people that came in on different flights. And that's a lot of work. So it really put into perspective for me how much work a lot of these DIY investors put into all of their accumulation investments when they come to meet with us. And now I kind of understand why sometimes it's hard to break that DIY mentality, because you have put so much sweat equity into what you've done when you do DIY versus having someone step in and assist you. You know, working with a financial advisor and a retirement planner is very different from doing all of your investing DIY. Just like working with a wedding planner who can, take some of the burden off of you is very different from doing a DIY wedding.
Right.
So, yeah, I really thought about, now I kind of understand the perspective better of so many people who come into our office who have done DIY themselves, because they have put so much sweat equity into it that sometimes it's hard to break that mentality. But also, how do you know what you don't know,
So what are some of the pros and cons? What do people most realize when you say you don't know what you don't know? What is it a lot of people, they don't know about putting a plan together without the help of an industry professional?
When you do everything DIY, do-it-yourselfer, my dad always says, we never want you to be one of those Pinterest fails, because we've all seen those, like what's that baking show? Nailed It.
Nailed It.
You know, where like everything's gorgeous and you put it together and you're like, nailed it. And it's a total disaster. We never want to see that happen, but unfortunately, sometimes it does, because one of the downsides of doing everything yourself is you don't even have access to all the different investing strategies, types of investments, life insurance, annuities, different investing vehicles. Sometimes, there are structured notes in the equation. When you don't even have access to them, how are you supposed to be able to properly diversify or even just know what's available out there when you only have access to what the general public has access to?
Right.
And when you don't have the systems in place that a professional does, you might be missing out on a lot of different opportunities. So when you manage it yourself, you really only have access to what the general public has access to, and you might be missing out on access to systems that could provide some preservation in your portfolio in the future, or make things a little less risky, or allow you more diversification. But when you DIY it, all you have is what you have.
Yeah.
You asked me, how do you know what you don't know? Right. Well, think about this yourself. You spend a weekend, the honey-do list is there, and Gretchen's like, I need you to fix this,
and this, yeah.
Say it's your AC. You're going to DIY that, or you're going to bring in a professional?
The Owens household, we kind of have an understanding, if you will. If the AC breaks, if something breaks, I can try the DIY. I can go to YouTube. I can go buy the tools. But more often than not, I'm just going to make it 10 times worse. So what do we do if something breaks and I know I can't fix it? I'm a grown A man right now. I know my limitations. So I'm not going to be like all alpha male, like I've never worked on an HVAC unit in my life, but all of a sudden because of the internet, I can do it. That's not true. So we immediately go to the professional.
Well, and it's the same with your finances. So many people either have the same mentality as you or the opposite. And they're like, I have the internet, so I can do this.
Right.
Well, just this weekend, you get targeted ads all over the place. I got a targeted ad that seemed so legit, and I clicked on it because I was like, ooh, they're talking about indexed universal life, which is obviously something you've heard us talk about if you've ever tuned in to Kicking with the Rickens before, because in our terms, that's what we call our tax-free retirement plans that we talk about. So I was like, oh, I'm very curious as to what this says. And it was a professionally done ad. It looked so legit. Opened it, full of misinformation. So when you rely on the internet to be your educational base, I hate to sound like my computer teachers from elementary school, middle school, and high school. But Wikipedia, not a legit source.
No.
But it's not, I'm not just talking about Wiki nowadays. Like, there are so many CNN, Fox News, big corporations putting stories out there on the AP that don't really give you all the full facts. And some of the times it's not factual. So when you rely on the internet, you don't know what you don't know, and you might fall prey to the wrong advice for your future, or you're going to be listening to someone's bias in whatever article you come across. And, you need to be doing an unbiased review of everything in order to truly get the full picture of it, because too many people are pushing their agenda out on the internet and not truly there to help you DIY your financial situation.
No, it's 100%. And they need the clicks. They need the clickbait. They need to get that web traffic up. So they're going to put the most sensationalized headlines out there. This is something that, we deal with every single day if you scroll social media or anything. But to go back to DIY, what are some of the biggest problems, though, that you find? And you were kind of talking about how somebody doesn't go to the professional first. They try to do it themselves. But what are some of the other strategies that you help people with when it comes to a DIY plan?
Okay, so when you do it DIY and it comes to Social Security, how do you even know when to draw your Social Security benefits? Or do you know that there are hundreds of different opportunities for you for when you can draw your Social Security benefits? You might not know that you had a divorced spousal benefit available to you,
right,
or a widow benefit. So we have systems in place that can allow us to look at Social Security and help provide some guidance to you for when might be, the time that you draw some of your Social Security benefits. Or we might allow you to see the opportunities that you have outside of your own traditional Social Security benefits, like those widow benefits or survivor benefits. So, it's really, really hard to DIY the Social Security aspect on your own, because that in and of itself, I mean, I read cover to cover, like one of those Social Security for Dummies books, like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, this system is insane. And my education has just continued since then. Obviously, I've upgraded from the Social Security from Dummies book, and I actually read the trustees report and all that nowadays. But, when you don't live in this world on a daily basis, it's a quagmire to try to figure out your Social Security on your own, right? And you really, I mean, you can, but you might be leaving some money on the table, and it's a system you've paid into your entire working years. So why not try to get the most out of the system that you possibly can? Or let's talk taxation. The general public truly has no idea what is happening in the world of taxation. And even just this last tax season, I can't tell you how many conversations I had with clients who have been clients for years, who trust us and have worked with us in a multitude of different ways, who have said, I saw this TikTok that said I can save on taxes because of A, B, and C. If you're getting financial advice from TikTok, please give me a call. Because anyone can create content out there. And, Joe down the street who owns 14 Airbnbs and is making $45 million a year, that's probably just clickbait for the internet so that they can make money off of the TikTok that you're watching. We've seen far too many people who get the wrong advice for taxes on the internet, because it's just such a complicated system, and it's changing on a yearly basis. So if you're not doing the continuing education with the IRS and the states that you're in, you're really missing out on a lot of information, and you're probably going to have the wrong tax guidance moving into the future.
It's also terrifying too, because we talk about with financial planning and putting portfolios together and people going to TikTok for their information. You're starting to see so much of that with politics as well. They're saying that most high school age kids are first time voters. They get more political information, more news, finger quotes, news from TikTok than anywhere else. That, Heidi, is terrifying.
Oh, it is. And I'll tell you, listen, I'm going to age myself right now. I don't have TikTok. I'm never probably going to get it, because I think I would waste way too much of my life if I was on that thing. I'm of the age that once it is a TikTok, then it turns into an Instagram or Facebook reel. I come across it there. So like 3 weeks later or whatever, I'm an old fart who comes across it there. And there is so much misinformation. I have also, so many of my friends like to be political on Facebook. Listen, your Facebook is your own thing. You can do whatever you want with it. But I have read so much misinformation out there, and it's all fear mongering. And I understand, because that's how people buy votes, is with fear.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we need to know the facts. And it's no different with your finances too. You need to know the facts. Like anyone can sit here and give you an opinion of what you're doing with your finances, but if you don't have an unbiased third party looking at it, like Morningstar, if you don't know what's behind the portfolio you're invested in and can understand why you've had the rate of return that you've had and what type of risk you're truly taking, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because it's not fear that's going to make your decisions. And if it is, you truly need the help of a professional. But you need to make sure that whatever plan you have in place, any fears that come can just be subsided, because your plan is going to cover those fears. So when we're talking to retirees, a lot of times they're afraid that they're taking too much risk. They have no idea what type of risk they're taking. That's when we can come in, we can run a complimentary Morningstar report for you and show you exactly what kind of risk you're taking in your portfolio right now, what the rate of return looks like, those internal expense ratios, exactly what all your ETFs and mutual funds are made up of. We can assist you with that and provide that to you, because, everyone should know what their risk truly looks like. When you put it all together and you don't even know what your risk looks like and you want to preserve your legacy, how do you do that DIY when you don't even have access to a lot of the types of investments that you can utilize to preserve that legacy? That's when a professional can step in and help you out.
It's funny you talk about social media. I'm just too old and tired to learn a new social media platform. Listen, I think we're close to. I come from the MySpace generation, okay?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Had it for a few weeks.
Yeah, that was my TikTok back in the day. I don't have time to learn TikTok or threads or anything. Again, I'm sounding like old man shakes his fist at the sky and the clouds. But right now, I'm like, I got my Facebook, I got my Twitter, I got my IG. I don't care about anything else.
That's another thing. If the burden is 100% on you to figure everything out, it's going to take a lot of time and energy and effort. And if you're single, it's only on you. You have 100% of the responsibility. If you're married and your spouse takes care of your finances, what happens if they become incapacitated or pass away? You don't probably want to take on that burden either. So, rely on someone else to help give you more time to do the things you want to do in your life.
And this goes back to the conversation, too, about how all this information is out there and the DIY. It's like, oh, I saw this reel, that's got to be right. Oh, I saw this link on Facebook, that's got to be right. Not necessarily true. But before we put a bow on this conversation about DIY, are there situations where DIY is totally acceptable in putting a plan together?
Well, absolutely. If you truly have a plan that you've put together and things are very simple and, say that you have one pension option and you have Social Security and that's enough to cover all of your needs for the future, then you might be able to DIY. But if you need a little assistance or you want a little assistance and to remove a little bit of the burden, work with a retirement planner. It might come with a fee, it may not, but they may be able to help you lower your risk and provide some less risky investments for the future, preserve a part of your legacy, come up with some investing strategies you might not have access to. The general public does not have access to Market Guard or proprietary investing strategy and methodologies. So if you want to access that, you could work with a professional. The general public, they have access to Dave Ramsey and his debt payoff, but they don't have access to our proprietary debt payoff strategy that we use, Your Family Bank, which helps you pay off debt while also saving. You might not have access to tax help or Social Security guidance or principal protection or principal preservation strategies. You can't access everything solo. You might need a partner in the future. So why not rely on a partner that can help find true diversification across not just stocks and bonds, but all the different strategies that you can utilize in your financial future.
There's nothing wrong with doing it the DIY way. There's nothing wrong with
not at all.
Educating yourself on putting these plans together, on to understand your 401k, understand IRAs even more. But there's also nothing wrong with asking for help. This is what you do every single day. This is what the power is.
And I was just telling you, even in the last week, I had 3 different clients call in, and all 3 of them said, hey, before we put our plan together, I kind of did some stuff DIY, and I was really afraid of losing money, so I moved it into cash. And all 3 of them had left previous employers and moved their 401ks into a self-directed IRA. And they all forgot that they had these when we were putting our plans together, because when you DIY it, if you don't have a system in place, it's pretty easy to forget a login or different accounts or whatnot. All 3 clients had their money in these self-directed IRAs just sitting in cash. One of them for the last 11 plus years. Every single year for the last 11 plus years, this client has made less than 1% in their IRA. So they're not even keeping up with inflation, but like I said earlier, you can't let fear draw or drive when it comes to your finances. So they let fear drive. They moved everything to cash. They kind of forgot about it. And now look how much money they've left on the table. Sometimes you just need the guidance of someone else to help you remove the emotion from the equation so you can make sure you're doing right by yourself and your family for the future. Because no matter what, you should be keeping up with inflation. But there's really nothing wrong with DIY. Thank God they didn't lose any money.
Yeah.
They could have gained a lot in the last 11 years had they had a different strategy than just saving it in a cash-based account that made less than 1%.
So we talked earlier about there's a lot of websites you don't want to click on, but there's one that you should spend some time on. That's rickenfinancial.com. From there, you can see all these strategies. You can see all the services they offer at Ricken Financial. You can also meet the team. And, of course, you can schedule that consultation from the homepage. Again, rickenfinancial.com. Or, of course, you can find it here in the show notes.
We'd be happy to give you an unbiased second opinion and, that Morningstar report so you can really see what your risk and reward has looked like for the past 10 plus years.
Heidi Ricken Provost, thank you. Thanks for the information and the education. Again, rickenfinancial.com. Find it in the show notes. Jerry's not here, so you got to finish it up. Every day
is a holiday.
Life is short.
Laugh hard.
Thanks for listening. This has been Kicking with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.